despite the score, the quarterback situation, Travion Henderson rushing for almost 100 yards, a number of things that people could have gravitated to on Saturday night following the game against the Zips of Akron. The talk was all about Kevon Pope and what happened on the sideline, what he tweeted out, the situation there. I listened to Ryan Day's news conference concerning his actions and the consequences now off the team. And that's exactly what Ryan Day stated. He wasn't going to get into specifics, but said that, player actions are going to be dealt with and there were consequences and we dealt with the situation.
Yeah, really tough situation. Kevon Pope was a senior for Ohio State, had waited around for 3 years for a chance to play, and it really wasn't happening for him this season. First of all, the Buckeyes have gone from 3 traditional linebackers down to 2 by playing the bullet safety quite a bit as the third linebacker. So the opportunities for linebackers to get on the field have been dwindling. What's interesting to me, I looked at some of the play counts that came out for the first 4 games. Dallas Gant played 41 plays in the first game at Minnesota and had 8 tackles, and then his playing time was basically slashed. Like, he didn't play at all, hardly less than 10 plays the next 2 games. And I think he saw the handwriting on the wall and he walked away and entered the transfer portal early last week, probably on Tuesday, right before they were getting ready to start heavy game prep. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm not playing the next game. So he's out. So then here's Pope, who hardly played at all against Minnesota and Oregon. He actually played 24 plays against Tulsa and he thought was being sent in to play against Akron. Ohio State, I think, was up, I want to say 28-7, perhaps at the time. And this happened around the time that Ronnie Hickman had the interception returned for a touchdown. So there was a lot of confusion and stuff going on probably down there at the beginning. And I guess it's unclear whether they called out a personnel grouping that does include Kevon Pope or does not include him. He thought it did. He tried to go out on the field, and Taraja Mitchell apparently waved him back. We tried to ask Ryan Day to clarify exactly what happened, and he said he did not want to elaborate on any of the circumstances that occurred on that sideline, preferring to keep all of that in-house and perhaps trying not to embarrass Mitchell or Pope or a defensive coach or any of that. So they're keeping what really happened and what led to him being waved off the field in-house. He turned around, came over, had some words for Larry Johnson, one of the assistant coaches on defense on that side, on the sideline, threw his gloves in the stands, threw a big fit, and was told to leave. He and C.J. Barnett, one of the program assistants, headed up to the locker room, and seems like he cleaned out his stuff and was gone when the team got there a short time later for halftime, and then popped off 2 tweets that will live in infamy. One of them saying that he was wishing the best for his teammates, and the other one, a profanity directed toward Ohio State. And that napalmed whatever bridges were left between he and Ohio State at that point. The next day, Ohio State issued a statement saying he'd been dismissed and essentially there'd be no path for him to come back, given what he had done. Then on Tuesday, Coach Day addressed it and said, behavior has consequences, and he paid the consequences. And Pope did apologize with some tweets subsequent to that, but he's done at Ohio State. The upshot of it is he and Pope and Gant both out before they played 4 games, so they can count this as a redshirt year and go somewhere next year and still be a senior eligibility. So I guess that's what they've got to say. Very unfortunate situation. And as Ryan Day said, you can't play everybody. You can't keep everybody happy. And this is part and parcel of that couple seniors who got passed by a running back who just moved over, Steele Chambers, a sophomore, Cody Simon, Eichenberg, whatever. So that's it.
And I wrote about this a little bit. It's behind the paywall, so you know it's good. With Kevon Pope and Dallas Gant waiting their turn. Kevon Pope, I think earlier in the season, tweeted something about, I thought it was next man up. And my comment on all of this is if you're waiting for your turn, you're doing it wrong. You need to make your turn. You need to make your playing time happen like Steel Chambers has. He was a running back in the spring, for crying out loud, and he has played well and gotten onto the field. Kayvon Pope, Dallas Gant, Taraji Mitchell all came to Ohio State. It was bad timing in terms of they get here and then starters are established, young starters are established, and they're playing behind those guys. But you can still find a way to get on the field. Dallas Gant played a little bit throughout his career. Taraji Mitchell played a little bit. But this year, as Steve said, moving to a 2-linebacker set, they knew it was going to get crowded. But the idea of just waiting for your turn, thinking it's your turn, that's not how you win a job. That's not certainly not how you keep a job. And it's an easy opportunity for somebody to come in behind you and compete and take the job, as we've seen.
Yeah, I think that, people are going to be, if you think that things are competitive in the linebacker room right now, wait till CJ Hicks and Gabe Powers get here. And then it's going to be even more young guys pushing from the true freshman side of things to try and get out there. So, it's one of these situations of the youth movement being there, and, the best guys are going to play. And if you just sit there and you think that you put in time and that's going to amount to anything, you've got another thing coming. That might work at 80 of the 130 Division I schools out there. It may even work at more than 80, but it's not going to work at Ohio State. And it's, you never want to sit there and say it's addition by subtraction, but I think that it might be a little bit of a wake-up call for some people to see, they're not kidding. And if you're an older guy and think that it's your turn and you're just kind of ham and egging it, they're coming for you too. So you better push.
There's no such thing as tenure. Like you don't. These aren't professors who are just like, well, I've been here for this long and you can't do anything to me, and I can make my calls. You can't. And you've seen what happens. And then to get to Ryan Dawes' question here about the loss of the 2 linebackers, does Craig Young now play a bigger role? Ryan Day said at this point there's no need to move somebody to linebacker, and I think Craig Young would be the first guy because he did play linebacker last year. Court Williams could be another guy that they choose to move. Right now, he's okay with the depth. If somebody goes down, then they would probably have to move somebody in, and I think Craig Young would be the first guy. Like Craig Young plays a little bit in the short yardage package stuff when they bring in Pala Ie Naoteote for some short yardage stuff. Craig Young is usually along with him. With how well Ronnie Hickman is playing at this point, it's hard to find snaps for Craig Young. It's kind of like the situation in 2019 when Pete Werner was playing so well, it was hard to find snaps for Brendan White. Right now, Craig Young is kind of being Brendan Whited or Pete Werner. I'm not sure which is the proper terminology there, but Ronnie Hickman playing so well right now, they're having difficulty finding some snaps for Craig Young, but they do still get him out there at times.
Yeah, I agree on Craig Young. I think he's a rangy, athletic guy. He still needs to learn the game a little bit. He's looked like a fish out of water at times, put in some certain situations where maybe he just didn't have recognition of where the football was or something of that nature. But again, that comes with experience. The linebacker group as a whole, at least the two linebacker positions that are playing, have been a major disappointment through the first 2 games. Mitchell's done some okay things, I suppose, but they need much more out of the 2 linebacker positions. You could scrap the entire linebacker group for all I care at this point because they've gotten next to nothing out of that group. And, just play Court Williams and whoever, because I think you got guys that have, higher ceiling or, a better chance to make plays than some of the people they've put out there. But, they're going to do the best they can. Obviously, you're going against some rugged Big Ten teams that want to line up and run the football. And, I think Rutgers is a team that wants to move it in 5 and 10 yard chunks. So your linebackers better come out and be ready to play this week.
Yeah, and Steel Chambers, the former running back, he's come out and you see him out there during some high leverage moments and you're like, wasn't that guy just playing running back 6 months ago? And I can make an argument that he's one of the top linebackers on the team right now, and I don't know if that's as much of an instance of it being that Steel Chambers is just that guy, or if it's just that nobody has stepped up and been able to reach for that brass ring, and that Steel Chambers just by default has been able to come in and do that. But yeah, I don't think we're any more clear on what a true linebacker rotation is. But I also, to kind of get back onto Ryan's question, I don't know if you need to be making dramatic moves at this point to try and shore up the room just based on that. As Tony had said, if something else changes and they lose more in the head count, another one, then maybe you do. But how badly could they use a Zach Boren moving over from fullback to linebacker right now, as we remember what predicated that in that Indiana game?